Hi, Relaxed Recaps here. Today, I'm going to explain an American action comedy superhero movie. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Rick Riker is a high school kid who's a bit of a loser. Bad luck always seems to follow him. For example, he misses his school bus and gets hit by it. On the bus, nobody lets him sit next to him. Rick has a crush on Jill, but she has a boyfriend. Rick does have one friend, Trey, who's really just Kevin Hart being himself. At Amalgamated Labs, Dr. Storm shows them around the animal genetics lab. He prohibits flash photography, so, of course, Rick uses flash photography and the bird promptly burns up. He stamps on it to douse the fire, but it gets stuck in his foot. To make it worse, he accidentally kicks it at Jill's boyfriend, Lance. Lance tries to pick a fight with him, but his uncle, Lou Landers, stops him. Lou is the CEO of Amalgamated Labs. He also has a medical problem causing him to cough up blood. As soon as Lou leaves, Lance pushes Rick into a pile of strategically placed poop. He tries to wash it with H2O, but it turns out to be H2O9, which is a powerful pheromone that causes animals to get, well, hot. All around him, the animals come for lovemaking. If this is an animal gangbang, then Rick is the poor, unfortunate girl. Meanwhile, Dr. Storm is showing off genetically enhanced dragonflies, which are much stronger than normal ones. Jill notes that one of them is missing. That dragonfly is actually going in for some action with Rick. It bites him on the neck, causing him pain, so he accidentally knocks over the H2O9 bottle, which just ends up soaking him. Farm animals come to him for some, sexy time, and they cover him in, love juices. Later that night, Rick's aunt and uncle Lucille and Albert are about to get a little frisky when Rick comes in, dizzy from the dragonfly bite. He lives with them because his parents are dead. He crashes around the room and disturbs their honka-honka time. Rick goes to his room and faints. At Amalgamated Labs, the board of directors are getting tired of Lou Landers. Lou has a terminal illness and is doing all sorts of experiments to fix it. He shows them a machine that can alter DNA and restore the body to perfect health. He starts the machine, and the whole thing goes boom. One board member comes to him, and Lou grabs his hand and steals his life. He doesn't even need glasses anymore. He then steals the life of all the board members. It was not a good day at the office. In his home, Rick wakes up after 5 days being hugged by Uncle Albert. He wakes up and sees the bite has disappeared, so he checks his symptoms on the internet. He's asked if he's ever had sex, and he says yes, but the internet doesn't accept his bullshit and accepts that he's a virgin. Then, a contact says that they have an answer. Just then, he sees Jill undressing in her window. She removes her bra and reveals another bra. Then she puts on a piece of string down below. At their high school science fair, they have a chief guest, some dude named Stephen Hawking or whatever. Later, Rick's palm suddenly sticks to a sink. When he tries to pull his hands away, the sink comes as well and hits Lance in the head. Lance tries to fight him, and he dodges all of it. His sticky fingers even grab onto the man's clothes, pulling it all off. Later, he tests his powers in an alleyway. He climbs the walls, and he does some dope dance moves. Suddenly, a truck with no brakes rushes towards an old lady. Rick pushes her away and takes the truck like a freaking champ. And then he sees that he actually pushed the woman into a shredder, and thus she dies. At his home, Trey and Uncle Albert fix some things. As Rick enters, he accidentally shoots him with a nail gun, but Rick catches it. Just to test the gun, Uncle Albert shoots Trey's hand. Just as any normal person would, Trey falls to the ground in pain. Rick says that he has superpowers, so Uncle Albert takes the liberty of testing it out by stabbing him. The knife ends up bending. Trey and Uncle Albert are excited, but Rick doesn't want it. They have an argument, and Rick goes outside. He looks at his father's ring and thinks of the night that they died. He and his parents are walking down a dark alley when a robber comes and demands their money. Rick steps up and fights the robber. However, he accidentally shoots his own parents while trying to be the hero. Huh, I must have missed this episode of Batman. The robber runs away, and Rick throws the gun away, and it misfires into his mother. His father gives him their ancestral ring, which he accidentally slips into his mouth. He takes it out, and his father tells him to earn it and be a hero. Outside his home, he hears Jill having an argument with her parents. They want her to go to college, but she wants to be a dancer. She talks about her dream, and Rick electrocutes himself on her electric fence. Lance arrives in a fancy car, and he looks at his own fancy ride, a broken bicycle. The next day, he looks for cars to buy, but he gets a video from Professor Xavier, who tells him to be a hero. He then goes to a bank for a car loan, but gets denied. Just then, a robber comes and steals the money. As he tries to leave, Rick accidentally opens the door for him. They then hear gunshots outside. He runs to a crowd, but it's just a monkey show. Uncle Albert is lying to the side. When Rick rushes to him, he says the famous line that we all know, "With great power comes great bitches." At his office, Lou examines his healthy face when suddenly he grows weak. Just then, his secretary comes to him and he steals her life. He has to hide the body now, which he pushes into a closet. The cleaner thinks something else is happening. At the hospital, Jill comes to visit Rick and Uncle Albert. He's grateful for not stopping the robber. Jill says that she believes in him and gives her a kiss. Outside, Rick is met by Professor Xavier, who takes him to his school for the non-Asian gifted. They all have superpowers. He's giving him a tour when his wife comes over and yells at him for having an affair with Invisible Girl. They have a fight and she wins. She then gives him the secret of being a superhero: make a costume. So Rick makes several designs, some not as good as the others, but he's such a genius that he forgets to put air holes in the mask, and he makes the material non-transparent. He faints. At night, he looks out over the city very seriously, where he meets John Storm, another superhero. John shows him his power, which is Flame On, but it starts burning him. Rick tries to help, but only makes it worse. John Storm falls over and dies. Rick wants to fly, and he does fly, for only a couple of floors. Rick starts doing hero work, and the world starts to notice. Even Tom Cruise notices, and makes a video about how the dragonfly cannot fly. At the lab, Dr. Storm informs Lou that he needs to kill one person every day in order to live, but that can be mended with some ceruleum and a killer machine. Lou says he'll steal the ceruleum. Laughing maniacally, he throws an hourglass into the ground, and the glass enters his eye. At the Empire State University, police are at a standoff with Lou Sanders, who is now the supervillain Hourglass. Dragonfly punches Hourglass into the building and is glad to see that Jill has the hots for him. He goes inside and viciously fights Hourglass while the camera spins. Dragonfly asks the director to stop because they're getting dizzy. Hourglass throws up and then throws titanium blades at him. Dragonfly dodges, none of them. He gets injured and Hourglass leaves. At his home, he and Trey clean his wounds. Aunt Lucille comes over and says that Hourglass will use Rick's loved ones to get him, so Rick must keep his identity a secret. At night, Jill is just leaving an audition, so Rick comes and gives her a bouquet. She thanks him, and she's leaving a bunch of goons harass her and chase her into an alley. Dragonfly comes and saves her. They share tender expressions while he destroys men's bodies, and then it rains for dramatic purposes, and they kiss. In a lab, Lou takes a Windows CD of Death Machine Maker, the home version. He calculates the number of people he needs to kill to reach immortality. Elsewhere, Jill has come over for Thanksgiving. She and Aunt Lucille talk about love while Aunt Lucille stuffs the turkey with all sorts of weird things. Just then, Lance arrives with his Uncle Lou. Meanwhile, Rick comes home and struggles inside while drinking a small cup of drink. Aunt Lucille is about to check on him, but Lou offers to do it. He goes into Rick's room just as Rick is releasing his fluids. Rick hides on the ceiling while Lou looks for him. Rick drank so much juice that he pees all over the floor when Lou is not looking. He then hides in the drawer but escapes when Lou looks there. Unable to find him, Lou looks down and Rick comes in through the front door. They all sit down for dinner. Lou reaches for the food without saying grace, so Aunt Lucille stabs him for his impoliteness. Quite normal, of course. They say grace and start eating. Suddenly, Lou points out Rick's wounds from the blades before, and he makes up an excuse. He points to Lou's bandaged wrist, and he makes up an excuse. Lou abruptly leaves the dinner. Later, while Aunt Lucille sleeps, Rick and Jill talk about his friendship with Dragonfly. She asks if Dragonfly has asked about her. Rick makes up beautiful things that Dragonfly has said about her, while Aunt Lucille plays background music with loud farts. They reach in for a kiss, but love is hindered by a supervillain tearing down the wall. Rick throws a bronze ball which jumps around the room and knocks himself out. Hourglass takes Aunt Lucille. In the hospital, the doctor informs him that she's dead, but she should not give his uncle the bad news right now. The doctor then goes ahead and gives his uncle the bad news. At Aunt Lucille's funeral, Uncle Albert makes a passionate display of love for his dead wife. Then, he accidentally drops her and she burns to ashes. Jill comes over to give him her condolences. Rick says that they can't be together because he needs to protect her. She gets heartbroken and leaves. On the way, Rick encounters a couple showing a little PDA. Just a little. He lets go of himself, so Uncle Albert and Trey come over to talk to him and remove his stupid fake beard. Uncle Albert gives him his father's ring and re-inspires him to continue his hero work. He guesses that the Hourglass will be at the Empire State Convention to steal the lives of the people there. Many guests like Nelson Mandela, Prince Charles, etc. will be there. Rick and Trey try to guess which honorable guest the Hourglass is. There, Lou Sanders wins the Douchebag of the Year award. Backstage, as he throws the douchebag into a dustbin, Rick comes to him and asks him for his help to find the Hourglass. Lou blames the Dalai Lama. Dragonfly beats up the Dalai Lama in front of everyone, thinking that he's the Hourglass. He even tears his clothes. He then kicks a man into the crowd and everyone starts fighting each other. In the confusion, Lou takes the ceruleum for his machine. Dragonfly sees him enter through a blown-up wall and follows him. However, it's a costume convention, and everyone is dressed up as superheroes and supervillains. Hourglass steps into his killer machine and blows up the ceiling. The debris falls on Dragonfly, which he lifts and throws up, and it comes on him again. Hourglass is about to finish him off, but Jill saves him. Dragonfly gets out and lifts her up, while the Hourglass leaves. Dragonfly becomes dejected, but Stephen Hawking inspires him with Celine Dion's lyrics. Dragonfly goes to the rooftop where the Hourglass has already begun his plan. He touches him and transfers the life force to Jill and saves her. Hourglass is still going to activate the machine and throws a bomb at Dragonfly. He catches it, but it sticks to him. As he tries to remove it, it gets stuck onto his groin, so he places it right in front of the Hourglass's face. The bomb blows up and kills Hourglass. However, Jill has been thrown over by the explosion and he jumps to her. She sees his ring and recognizes him as Rick. Dragonfly starts saying that he wished he could fly, and they kiss. Dragonfly suddenly sprouts wings and saves them both. They fly romantically like Superman, and they get hit by a helicopter. And that's where the movie ends. Make sure to check out the next film displayed on your screen right now, and subscribe now with all notifications enabled as to not miss another one of our future videos.